In this episode, I'll walk through all the equipment I use to make my videos. If you wanted to start a YouTube channel or start a podcast, stay tuned. So welcome back to the channel. I'm Sunny, and a few of you have reached out to ask what equipment I use to make my videos. So I thought I'd share this video and run through all the equipment and the software that I use to make my videos. So if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel or create videos or even a podcast, stay tuned. I thought I'd keep this video simple, so I won't go too far into any technical details, but if you have questions, feel free to post them below and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll also add links below for everything I cover in this video, and I'll also provide alternatives. So if you want to go do your research and do some reading, all the links will be below. Okay, so let's start with the camera. So this is a Sony mirrorless APS-C camera. So APS-C being a crop sensor, just meaning that it's a small sensor as opposed to a full frame. This is an A6500. So basically the one I'm shooting with is actually an A6300. And the reason why I'm shooting with that camera is because I broke the HDMI port on this one. And common Sony problems in the old days is the screen doesn't articulate all the way up. So it's very hard for me, if I'm filming myself, to see if I'm in frame, if I'm in focus and anything else. So I have an A6300 there, and I have an external monitor. I won't talk about the external monitor too much, but I'll put a link below for it. Next up is a lens. So I normally shoot with this lens, which is it's a Sigma. I don't know if I can get that thing to focus. So it's a Sigma 16mm f1.4, f1.4 being the aperture, and the aperture basically meaning how much light the lens can let in. And a lower aperture just means it performs better in lower light, as well as gives you more of a shallow depth of field, which is a blurry background that everyone loves. So I generally shoot with this, but right now I'm shooting with my Tamron 17 to 28, and it's an f2.8. Links will be below. So the software that I use is Adobe Premiere Pro. Probably wouldn't recommend you starting with that unless you have a background in any Adobe products. I started with something called Filmora, so I'll suggest you start with something like that. It's a lot cheaper. I think it cost me like $70, but I think they might have moved to a subscription based. But Premiere in itself is about $30 a month, and you have to commit to at least a year. So I think it's just good to start with something like Filmora, which basically teaches you the fundamentals of video layers, audio layers, and everything else. And then if you want to use Premiere Pro, move to Premiere Pro. Just remember that it costs a bit more. The microphone I use is a Samson Q2U. Now this is a dynamic microphone, so there's condenser microphones as well, and a condenser microphone's like the Blue Yeti. They're a bit sensitive, so they're more for if you have a controlled space like a studio, as where dynamic will just record the voices in front of it, and as you can hear, it sounds pretty good. So this also supports a XLR and USB port. So I've actually never used USB, but I'm actually using it right now to record on this PC, just so I can show you the recorder. And yeah, so I went with this. I've got links below. There's other alternatives too, but this cost me maybe about $90, and the $90 included a tripod, included the cables and everything else. So just for the sake of it, this is a XLR cable. And what I have is an external recorder. So an external recorder. So this is a Zoom H5. So the reason why I got this was it supports XLR. And basically it has gain controls. Apparently I can plug this into a computer as well. Haven't done that yet, but it also supports a micro SD or SD card. So I actually record on this, but I plug this into my camera as well, and I record straight into the camera. So I have two actual audio files, but I actually use the audio from this. And I've got alternatives as well down the bottom. So there's other audio interfaces that you can plug into your computer, as well as other microphones. So if you want to look at other options, go ahead and look down the bottom. The audio software I actually use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is video editing software, but there are some basic functions, I guess, and filtering options. I don't go too much into them. The game changer was a free application called Levelator, And what it does is it basically levelizes your audio peaks. So then basically it's more of a pleasing audio sound, gives it a bit more body, I guess, and fixes the volume. Next up is lighting. So lighting is quite a big thing with shooting videos. So I have a huge light in front of me. You can see there's a box there, so you can see right there, the light's there. It's basically a big light with a soft box. Basically a softer light is not as harsh on the skin, so it doesn't show, blemishes and everything else. So definitely recommended that you get a soft light. The light itself is a Godox SL60W, which is, I'll put a picture up here, so then you can see what it looks like. I've got the link below, and I've got other RGB lights. So there's one over there, which is just a Wi-Fi light, and then I've just got these other little Yongnuo, I think, lights. So there's one here, and that's an RGB light. So I definitely recommend that you invest in lighting. And that's basically a very basic run through of all the equipment I use. Now my website, so I'll just brush over this. Basically, the key thing I was looking for was a podcasting host. So I was looking at something like Buzzsprout. So Buzzsprout will basically host your MP3 files and provide an RSS feed. So I found out that publishing your podcast is actually just an RSS feed, and when people actually listen to them on Spotify and whatever else, they're actually listening to it or streaming it from your actual website. So I found out that someone like Squarespace basically allows you to create the RSS feed as well as provide all the metadata to host your own podcast. And the reason why I did that was I have more control of my blog posts. So if you look at my blog post on my website, which is someoneelsescloud.com, there's the YouTube link in the actual blog post, as well as the audio file, as well as text as well. So that's what I wanted, as where Buzzsprout would just give you one page and it'll just have all your audio files. And so I wouldn't be able to put my YouTube links, considering this is primarily video. Okay, so that's all the equipment I use. It's probably a bit of overkill for most people. My gear is actually not the latest and greatest. My cameras are probably 5 years old or so. So I've just acquired a whole bunch of gear over time. But if you're wanting to start up, I'd suggest that you could use your phone. Most mid-range to high-end phones have really good rear cameras. Okay, so I was just going through the content, and I thought it'd be cool if I shot the same scene, but on my mobile. So I'm currently shooting on a Galaxy S20 mobile. This microphone's actually plugged straight into my mobile via USB. And this is what it looked like. So you could easily shoot on your mobile these days. Just invest in some lighting and a decent microphone and you're good to go. Invest in a soft light. So you'll see those big ring lights that a lot of people have. So you want something that's big and soft. And invest in a microphone. So you can get a lapel mic. You could buy, something like this. There's links below for some other microphones. You don't even need an external recorder. I have this plugged into my computer right now. And some software that I'm actually using, which I don't normally use, is something called Audacity. And Audacity is just a free audio editor. So I'm actually recording right now with Audacity, so I'll put that link below as well. I hope this video has helped you in some sort of way. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, post them below and I'll do my best to respond. So I'm signing out. See ya.